Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Punk Rock Horror Podcast BandShowCase episode. This is Ep.3, and the interview coming up that you guys are about to hear is an interview with Mixked Fridays. It was a lot of fun being able to talk to them and hear about the punk scene out there in California and about their upcoming album that's out today, actually, called Trick Handle. These guys are great, and I hope you guys enjoy the interview, and thank you again to everyone who tuned into our last band interviews with Kira Skiro and Taking Alpha. Alright guys, enough said, let's get to it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. Today, I am joined by the guys from Mixked Friday with Calvin Klein, Gil Lopez, Johnny Evil, and Dominic Zen. Welcome, guys.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having us.
Hey there. So this has been something that we've been excited about bringing you guys on for a while now. And apologies again, Cody couldn't make it. But yeah, we've kind of grown like this really cool, unique friendship over Twitter.
Oh yeah.
And so
we're catfishing you, bro. Sorry, not sorry.
Wait, you're not the hot group of Russian chicks?
No, we're Russian bots.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that
Calvin
makes
actually he's kind of well.
that makes far more sense.
Well, Gil's actually a big Gildo.
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
Oh. Right on. Okay. Well, now I don't know how we're gonna proceed.
That's what we like to do in interviews is just completely kibosh the whole thing right off the bat. You're welcome.
Nice. All right. Well, again, guys, this is exciting to have you on here. This has been a long time coming, and believe it or not, you're the first actual punk band we have on a band showcase episode. We usually have a lot of metal bands come on, which no hate against them. We love our cousins in metal, but it's nice to actually have a punk band to talk to as well.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah,
You're actually the first
Thanks
punk
for
rock.
having us.
You're the first punk rock podcast that we've actually done an interview with.
Yeah.
So this is like we're both virgins right now.
Yes, we're in this together. Cherry popping as one.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, so let's get into it. So where did the inspiration for Mixked come from, and how did you guys get it started?
Calvin will let you take that.
The name actually comes from. I'm originally from Wisconsin. Of course, we're a LA band. But my little brother committed suicide about 5 years ago, and every Friday we would have parties, and all of our friends were always mixed, either Hispanic or white, black or white, Native American or white, or Hispanic.
And Calvin is also mixed.
Yeah,
so
I'm mixed. We're
not
yeah.
racist for using
Yeah,
the word.
so is Gil. It's all Gil. So we're
Yeah, Gil is too.
So
I'm also the resident homosexual, so we are quite the melting pot of people.
melting pot.
I'm the privileged white dude that has
from Alabama.
from Alabama with no pigment.
So every
only
Friday, we started calling our parties Mixked Fridays because everyone's from everywhere. So it's kind of a good tribute to my little brother because now that he's gone, so it's Mixked Fridays,
Yeah. Wow, that's actually although that it's very sad, and I'm sorry about what happened to your brother. That's also kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes kind of story that you guys started up this band.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Actually, since our record dropped today, which is July 28th, the song "God Not Forgotten" was actually written for him, and then all of our friends have passed away from drugs or suicide. So
Yeah, and kudos to that song. You guys were very gracious enough, and thank you to sharing an early listen with me and Cody on the album.
Oh yeah,
and
you're welcome.
we listened to that song, and it's a great song, and the whole album's actually really, really good. It blew me away.
Thank you.
Not that I ever doubt that it
We had a
would.
great time making it.
Yeah, no, I could tell. We both could tell. It's a solid album. We got really interested in you guys when we listened to your stuff on iTunes, and the song that stuck out to me was your song "Relax." Like I really, yeah, that one has like a really good classic, like kind of like aggressive punk rock sound to it, and so
actually,
like,
we actually have a couple songs that are going to be like that. Actually, wrote a riff
in the pot. Right
yeah,
now.
we actually have 10 songs written down that we're going to be working on that we got to finish, but they're like really fast punk rock, relaxed type of songs coming up.
yeah,
but we still like to mix it up, obviously.
We like to mix it up.
It's in
yeah,
our
you
name,
guys
for
kind
God's
of
sake.
got like a NoFX feel to you too. I mean, were they an influence on when you were writing your new album?
Well,
oh yeah.
So, actually, Johnny can tell you about where we recorded the record at.
Yeah, so NoFX has definitely been a big influence on all of us over the years. But we were lucky enough to actually record the album at Ryan Green's studio, and he's actually the dude that produced NoFX's Punk in Drublic. So it was really great to work in his studio, and it was engineered by Scott Hallquist from 10 Foot Pole.
Nice.
So it's we got a lot of fat wreck hands on this record.
Yeah,
I think it comes through.
Well, one thing that was kind of surreal about doing that was, as you probably noticed, the last track on the EP or the album is a cover of NoFX, and in the process of recording it, the fucking dude that produced the original was like coming in and out of the room, like he's like grabbing stuff, and it's just like it sort of felt like surreal. It's just like, are you really here, man? Or are we hallucinating?
And he actually helped supervise Scott too.
So in a sense, yeah, this is almost like we kind of like it was the perfect situation to do a NoFX song because we're working in the room with the guy who did all the original NoFX. It sort of felt like the ghosts of NoFX were flowing through.
Yeah, well, Ryan Green is like the punk rock.
Bad, but yeah.
He's the punk rock producer. He produced almost all those punk bands back in the 90s.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
so it was cool to get to meet him and hang out.
Recording in his studio, then knowing that like our producer, and engineer was, under his care, like if he had problems, questions.
It felt like it was in the right hands.
There's some tracks during mixing that actually Ryan Green had to go over with Scott, like, hey, how about you try it this way, make our record sound a little bit better. So it's kind of like a nice, cool thing.
It's just cool for us. We just like to get to brag about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh no, definitely. I would brag my ass off. So I mean, what was that like to find out that you're going to be working with Ryan Green? I mean, I bet it's pretty surreal, right?
Well, I don't want to give the wrong impression. Like, Ryan didn't produce the album for us. He was kind of like
supervising.
He was sort of in the background, just because he owns the studio. So he was obviously around the place a lot while we were there. But we would sit and shoot the shit with him all the time, and he's a super nice guy, super amiable. But I mean, I guess we owe it to Johnny because he's the one that really got us in. Because he's been friends with Scott for a long time, so he's the one that sort of introduced us, got us into the family over there. And I mean, it was super awesome. Like so much fun to work with those guys.
Yeah, Johnny, how did you meet Scott?
And it was really interesting. So I've known Scott for a long time. And it was kind of interesting too because I used to live in San Francisco. I was up there for about a decade, and that was actually how I kind of made a lot of friends with people in the Fat Records family. And Ryan actually used to co-own Motor Studios in San Francisco with Fat Mike, and so I had actually recorded like 5 or 6 albums there. And so when I found out that my buddy Scott was going to start working in Ryan's new studio in LA, of course I jumped on the chance because and we walked in there and I was like, holy crap, I've recorded on most of this gear that's in here already. So it was really surreal to kind of see that full circle and see all that gear come down from San Francisco in his nice new studio here in LA.
Yeah, besides our amps that we brought, a lot of those amps were on big punk rock records like Punk in Drublic. The record, the Marshall was used in it.
I didn't even...
The Mesa Mach, was it the Mach 4? Or Mach 5. Yeah, that was used in that record.
I didn't even bother bringing my amp to the studio. I was like, fuck, if I get to use these guys' amps, mine's just going to stay at home and get the dust. Why would I turn that down?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's kind of surreal, like hearing like you guys are running into all these like legends of punk rock and like even where you're playing. Because did your show coming up or is it still coming up
it's
for the Redwood Bar?
As soon as we're done with this, we're leaving and going straight to the venue. So.
Yep, straight to the venue.
Yep.
Oh yeah, so we'll try to get you guys out here on a good time. let's keep going. Let's keep things going in that case. Sorry, I'm finding a lot about echo on my end, so everything.
We're all right. Oh yeah, we're good. We're good on time. Don't feel the need to rush. We like the banter.
We all talk a lot.
No worries. So let's talk about a little more on influences. When you went into just writing this album and what songs you were going to write, you obviously touched on some of it with your brother's passing. What other things influenced you when you came into writing this album, and maybe possibly any other songs?
Well, when it comes down to like me and Dom, we'll sit here and we'll write a song, and then we'll kind of like take like lyrics from like he has written down or something.
So yeah, my method really is kind of weird. I have a big long notebook of potential lyrics that I keep in my phone. If I hear somebody say something that sounds crazy, or if I think of something, I'll write it down. And oftentimes, somebody will come in with like a riff, Calvin will come up with a riff or something, and we'll just scroll through my big long ass list of just like stupid things that I've written down. Some of them are absurd, some of them are like really overly like sappy and stupid. And then we'll find one that seems to work, and then we'll kind of run from that. Just use that as a jumping off point.
And then take real life events and make the story around it. Like, especially like Wink Wink was like that, because he was actually driving home from work and he was like he recorded on his phone.
Oh yeah, let me take it back for a second. If you know that song Wink Wink, that beginning part that sounds extremely like lo-fi. It's lo-fi because I recorded that on a voice memo on my drive home from work, because I suddenly just got this melody and these words in my head, and so I just started. I couldn't write it down. I was driving, and I probably shouldn't have pulled my phone out, because in LA you can totally get like arrested for that.
But come on, you gotta be punk rock about it.
Yeah. Such a rebel. But so I got home and I showed it. I played it for Calvin. I was like, hey, I came up with this. I don't know what it is or what it means or like where it's gonna go. But then from there we were just like, all right, well let's run the song around it. Let's sculpt this piece of granite.
And we're talking about like people when you meet at bars. It's like you always, especially here in LA, it's like you meet a girl and it's like, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. Ew, you smoke a cigarette? And then you go outside and she's like, oh, can I have a cigarette? Or even like when it comes to like drugs, like, ew, you guys do cocaine, or that person does cocaine, but you see that same girl doing a line later on in the bathroom,
After she's got like a couple of like martinis in her, she's singing a different tune.
Exactly. So it's like,
obviously she has her standards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's like,
and then a song like Long Distance. That song actually was, the whole song isn't based on entirely true events, but it's just like it's a song about being cheated on. And then in the end, there's a little twist that turns out that you were also cheating. But it's kind of like a real life thing, because I've been in long distance relationships and it's just they don't work. And there's always that feeling of just like how am I going to be faithful, and how am I going to trust that someone's being faithful? But then we just try to put like a twist on it, make it funny, make it punk.
Actually, that song took us the longest to write the lyrics for, because all the other songs, like Dom and I can write a song in a day. We'll have it demoed out, music, lyrics. But that song took us. We wrote the music for it like almost 10 months ago, and it took us so many. Like before, we had like
there's a lot of trial and error.
Black Flag came, the Germs. It was like a punk rock song.
Like it went through a lot of different iterations before we finally were like, all right, this one kind of works. But before that, the world's never going to hear it. We're not going to let that shit get out. But we have so many demos of that song with different lyrics and different melodies that just didn't. Not work.
It was like one about like how like Pat Smear was in the Germs, and Germs became Nirvana, and then like punk rock blew up. It was like this. It was really weird. Song.
Yeah, we tried to write a song about the history of punk rock, and it just educational songs just don't really work in that genre.
Then it came out to be Long Distance.
Yeah. So if you ever did that song live, you would have to kind of like do an homage to Gigi Allen. So one of you would have to throw your poop at the crowd.
I'm all over that. I usually end up in a jockstrap on stage anyway.
Oh,
Actually,
hell
like,
yeah!
Yeah, tonight he's gonna be a character tonight when he comes on stage.
Uncle Sam.
So and we play the Star Spangled Banner, and it's all hardcore, and then we go into actually Long Distance with our first song of the set tonight.
Nice. Yeah. So speaking of Long Distance, that's actually the song you sent us for all the listeners to check out, and I listened to it again earlier, and I really love this song, and I swear to God, I'm not just being a brown nose. I love it because you guys have this kind of like breakdown. So yeah, but sorry, you guys have this breakdown in it that's I consider pretty hardcore, pretty metal, and I thought it was such a rejuvenating kind of like breakdown to hear in a punk song, especially since like metal and punk are cousins of each other. The reason I bring that up is one to see why you guys decided to include that in the song.
Actually, well, first let me just say something. I just want to thank you for saying that you like it, because we had one reviewer say that was the part of the song that they didn't know they didn't like it.
Oh, that guy's lame.
They're like, he was sucks. He was
like, I was on the fence at first, but then once he went to that breakdown, I knew I didn't like this song.
But actually, our like originally when me and Dom started this band, we wanted to write punk songs with metalcore breakdowns. So we actually have like 4 or 5 songs that are still in the works, and they all have metalcore break. Even a ska song that's all ska, so it's like din 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 din. They go din 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 din. So we actually have a lot of songs that we haven't finished that actually have more breakdowns, because that was kind of the goal. Like, let's do like a punk band, a hardcore punk band that had like a lot of breakdowns.
Let me interject a little
and
bit.
Crazy solos.
Let me interject a little bit and say that was mostly Calvin's idea. Yeah. I was more leaning towards just the pure punk, not having the breakdown. But he was the one that like really pushed for it. And then as we started writing more, he was like, "All right, here's where the breakdown goes." And I'm like, "All right, fuck it, whatever."
It's like, sounds good.
It's like, here we go. But then it ends up working. It was like, and then I'm like, all right, you were right. And
then I came along. I come from more of a metal background. Like I've been a touring musician since I was 15, played in a lot of metal bands. So when I joined up with these guys, I was all over that. I was like, yeah, let's throw some metal stuff in there. So we did it.
By the way, I'd like to mention we have our merch girl here, and we keep waving her over to bring us more beer as we're in this interview.
Say hi, Kaylee.
Say hi.
I did the best. Here you go.
Yeah, but she's doing our merch tonight.
Hi, merch girl.
Say hi. Say
Hi.
All right, now go back to your merch shake.
She's gonna poison your coffee now.
Anyway, yeah, back to the internet.
But no, that's really awesome. They guys kind of like continued with that with long distance, and it kind of sounds like you're trying to bring some like new ideas into punk rock, into which I want to ask you guys. I mean, do you think there needs to be some re-innovation with punk music, with including stuff with like metal breakdowns, or maybe even just like obscure things, because that's what punk rock is, right? Is challenging the norm, challenging what is expected. So shouldn't we challenge what's expected even within punk rock music and the community in general?
Yeah, we actually take pride in trying to inject as many different musical styles into our songs as possible. To quote the dude that engineered our record, Scott, he said that we have our own ish. Like, we just take all these different elements from different styles of music and throw them together. They shouldn't fucking work, but they do, and it just comes out sounding like it does. And I definitely think that the more people try to, as you said, innovate what has become like stagnant and boring, just straight up punk rock, throwing that extra weird stuff in there is about the most punk thing that you can do.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to writing songs, it's like we write songs that like we want to listen to ourselves, and it's like you listen to a lot of these bands out these nowadays, they all sound the same. Like literally, like, oh, this band sounds like this band, like. I like to write music, and it's like, ooh, I want to hear it. I want to be my own fan. Actually, I listen to my own music all the time because I'm a fan of it, and that's why we write music, to be a fan.
I mean, that's kind of the goal. Is if you ever look back at bands that inspired us, like we're not the first people to try to combine styles. We're not the first people to but I think our goal is to make music that we like and please ourselves, because we like to pleasure ourselves and then write music
at least 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So probably bringing on the new genre of punk masturbation, basically.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Dom does a lot of that on guitar for sure.
Yeah, pretty much. My style of playing is just punk masturbation. That's what it is.
Yep. Yeah. Nailed it.
Oh man, that's awesome. So since you guys bring a lot of innovation to the genre and to this scene, have you faced any of like pushback or really like intense criticism on it?
Well, like I said earlier, we got a review from a dude who just not having that breakdown. but for us, we're just like, well, fuck off if you don't like it. Then we like it, we love it. So like, I mean, if somebody does push back, it doesn't really discourage us from continuing to do it. I mean, we just. We're not shy about telling each other when we think that somebody's fucking up. Like if somebody writes something that we don't like, we're all just like, earlier today we were actually right before we were doing this interview, we were going through a new song that we're working on, and Gil totally just like up front about it. It was just like, yeah, dude, I do not like that info. That sounds like shit.
And what makes it different is that we changed keys 5 times that song. And Gil's like, you were gonna learn to love it.
Well, Gil's the only one that actually went to college for music. So
excuse you. Johnny did too. But no bands change keys that many times. So it's like, it's such a cool song that changes keys and changes keys. So that's why he's probably like, oh, what is this? And then it's like, dude, trust me, it's gonna be awesome because it changes keys so many times that no one does it. It's gonna be like, yeah.
But looking at Gil right now, I can already tell that he's just not gonna. He's not gonna.
That's punk rock.
He's not gonna allow this to happen. He's gonna.
I'm gonna make it prettier, I promise.
All right, make it prettier. He's gonna pour beer all over our laptop.
Jockstrap and all.
But it's a great song too.
It is really cool. I like it a lot until we get to that part. It needs a little bit of work.
We can work on it, but changing the keys, no one does that. Especially like how it's actually really
because it doesn't sound good.
But yeah,
that's why no one does it.
Yeah, so when it comes down to it, like we are very passionate during our songwriting process, and like we have gotten in shouting matches while we're writing songs. But at the end of the day, we know that we're all still friends. We're just trying to make the best we can.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's awesome. It's always good to see a brotherly kind of like common interest within the bands, and when for example, when it comes to metal, it's way more, I guess, intense with a brotherly bond. But when it comes to like punk rock, it's more of a brotherly bond based off dick jokes and a chaotic nature to just want to write songs that are in your face and make you think. And would you guys agree with that statement?
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm not going to disagree with it. Yeah.
So,
but I mean, I think it's what it comes down to with any band, though. I mean, like all of us in this group have been in many bands before. This isn't our first rodeo, so like everyone knows what the relationship in bands can be like, and you just have to have a mutual respect. You have to be able, like, you don't want to play with musicians that you don't respect. I mean, I've been in bands that fucking suck. Actually, that's how they met.
Don't do it.
Do not say the name. Do not say the name. But I've been in bands. I'm not going to drop names, but I've been in bands that I'm just like, yeah, this music sucks, and I don't like hanging out with you guys. I don't even know why I'm in this band. And like, and so like it helps a lot to be friends, but it also helps to have like a common, like understanding of like, all right, like sometimes you're gonna be outvoted and you're just gonna have to take it, or sometimes you're gonna have to fight really hard for your opinion because other people are gonna like think that. Like, again, when you write a song that changes key 5 times over the course of just like one verse, you're gonna have some pushback.
Yeah, like push you out. I'm gonna make sure that changes. I can see it kind of going like some changing like step by step. Like
you can do it.
Double step, big batch.
Oh wait, let's not write the song while we're on the interview.
I don't like. Let's write the song while we're here.
Want to be part of the songwriting process?
We could play it for you guys and let your listeners vote.
Actually. That would actually be kind of a good idea. If we can upload a good demo and you guys can like talk about it and have your fans vote. Do they like the ending? So we can go to Gil. So then they like it, or they don't like it.
So then when it's an overwhelming yes, we can be like, Gil, shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Yeah, if you guys are down, we'll do that. We'll demo it out really good, and then we'll send it to you guys. And you guys can have your fans vote on
Calvin's vendetta against Gil's opinion is like knows no end.
It's like the voice of punk rock.
Yeah.
That depends. When would you guys need to hear from the listeners by?
We don't have a time limit because like that's gonna be. We figure that's gonna be the last song on the record, so we want to record a full length, probably by January. So
I mean, right now, because today is the EP release for like the newest recording, we're more focused on booking as many shows as possible. So the whole we're working on new songs. We're always working on new songs, but like the goal is not to immediately put out some new recordings. The goal is to start getting out there on the road. And
but we're
shows and
demoing
promoting.
songs. Hey, we have a list of songs to demo in the next couple of weeks. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's the curse. It's like you always want to write, and so it's like when it gets to that point where you have to start working really hard on playing and touring and all that kind of stuff, you sort of have to put writing on the back burner, even though your body doesn't want to let you. And so, yeah, it's kind of where we're at.
Maybe.
Sorry, Bill.
Yeah, I think the listeners would love to participate in deciding how you guys want to end it and whatnot. So if you guys want to hook us up with that, we'll see what we can do on our end.
Yeah,
and get
we'll
our listeners involved.
Definitely do that.
We'll have our people talk to your people.
Perfect. Being Cody.
Yeah.
We're looking at bringing on an intern. So there's like maybe one more person.
We kind of have the intern merch girl over here.
There you go. So we're getting to the 5-minute mark of this interview. So I want to ask you guys, because I know how hectic it could be at metal shows. What I want the listeners to hear, who may not be privy to a punk show, is what is the craziest thing you guys have experienced at a punk show, regardless if you were or weren't playing it?
Oh.
Well, I mean, this is kind of. I was on stage. It wasn't necessarily a punk show, but I was a different band that I was in. But I had broken my tooth out. I had fallen and broken. This didn't happen in the show, but I had fallen and broken my tooth out by hitting my face on my guitar amp. So for a long time, I had to wear this little temporary. And I was
from Alabama. That's the reason why his tooth was missing.
Yeah. Oh, shut up. So I was playing a show, and like at the end of the show, at the end of the set, the last song, everyone was fucking going nuts. I mean, the singer jumped off the drums and nearly broke his leg, and like the bass player was like playing with a shoe and shit. So like I actually in that moment I was like, all right, everyone's going crazy. I got to do something. So I pulled my denture out of my face and used it as a guitar pick. And I think that's the reason why after the show all the girls wanted to talk to the other dudes in the band.
That guy's fucking weird.
Yeah.
He must be from Alabama.
Oh, come on. The list was adorable.
All right, well, you guys tell the story then.
I have a good one. So I think this was during Folsom Street Fair up in San Francisco. I've performed on stage for that festival like 3 or 4 times, and jumped up on stage with an all-female cover band of Turbo Negro called Turbo Negra. And we had it planned that I jumped on stage to sing the very last song with them, which of course was I Have Erection. And we planned it out so that one of the bass players and one of the guitarists they actually completely pantsed me while I was on stage. So just had my junk waving at everybody.
Tell me you finished the song.
That was the encore, dude. That was the very end of the song. That was the grand finale.
Nice.
Calvin, any crazy story? Calvin was on Warped Tour once. You must have seen some shit.
Oh,
I think
really?
the craziest thing, well, maybe backstage, I'd say, is like
Drugs.
too bad the birth. Like I won't mention the lead of the band, but we were on tour with this band in Chicago, and every time before he went on stage, it was time for him to go on stage, to drink a whole bottle of Jägermeister, do 2 lines of cocaine off some girl's butt, and then he's like, I'm on stage. And they're a big band. And every night, I was like, go, line, and they would kick ass.
I mean, like, none of these stories involve the audience going crazy. This is just the stupid shit the musicians do.
They're like, well, audience, I think,
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen anything overly crazy.
Yeah,
just like people getting injured in the mosh pit.
mosh pit, yeah. Oh, actually, here's one. We were playing a show in northern Wisconsin, and it was a huge punk rock show. This is like back in 2002, 2003. And it's this one band I was playing, their bass player, he literally climbed up speakers. You know, there's probably about 1,000 people there. Took his pants off and kind of started jerking off right in front of the whole crowd.
Oh
yeah,
my
and then he
God.
got blown onto the crowd.
I'm amazed that you'd be able to get like.
Yeah, he did get arrested and he shot it. It was like, and pretty big band.
Ridiculous.
Like,
That is absolutely
this is before camera, so like,
I'm
2018, I'm finished.
I'm surprised in a moment like that you'd be able to make it to completion.
that's like a G.G. Allen thing, you know?
Wait. So wait, you're telling me this dude actually like made it to completion in front of like?
Yeah, made it to completion.
Oh my god!
Shot it in a
I don't
crowd.
think that I'd be able
Like,
Oh.
I don't think.
Jim Morrison was in jail for less.
yeah.
Oh man.
This was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, too.
Making it to completion.
I never
Oh my
And
god,
if I-
that is
There's not a
gnarly.
people at that show, too, so.
We all got a piece of it.
And they all got pregnant.
Talk about perch.
After the show,
Oh
all I got
man,
was loud
I mean, I guess
content.
that's possible. Oh shit, that is funny and gross all at the same time.
I mean, I've seen musicians throw up on stage before, but I mean, I feel like that happens more often than you would think.
Well, Johnny actually just told the story at last band practice that he barfed all over the microphone before he went out.
I know this happened while I was on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people throw up on stage, but that one doesn't really shock me anymore because it's just a whole bunch of drunk musicians who get up on stage and throw up. I mean,
Right.
it's just.
I wasn't even drunk when it happened, though. I was screaming for way too long and just
And it
just came up.
Started deep-throating the microphone.
I mean, that does tend to happen.
Now I have this image in my head of you just like at the mic and just like, how's it going?
Right. Don't forget to tip the bartender.
It's been great playing for you guys. Oh man, all sperm and vomit aside, fortunately we are getting to the end of this interview. The time has flown by. You guys have been awesome to talk to. It have definitely kept me laughing my ass off.
No, we had fun.
Yeah, we enjoyed it too, man. Thanks for having us on.
Now we get to go play downtown Los Angeles tonight.
Hopefully someone will throw up on stage or ejaculate.
Or worse.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
So before we head out, we've already kind of talked about Long Distance and some new album, but when can everyone expect for your new album, Trick Handle, to come out?
It's
Trick
today.
Handle's out today.
It's out today.
Today it came out today.
It's out today,
On
so you heard it,
all your
listeners.
favorite streaming services.
Yeah, it's pretty much available on all platforms.
You heard it,
Music,
listeners. Trick
Spotify,
Handle.
it's everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, today's the actual release
Yes, today-
show.
Oh, okay.
Tonight's the release show party, yeah. So.
Right on.
Yeah,
on.
so
Sorry,
stay tuned to our
sometimes you have to
Facebook
repeat
because you'll be
things to
seeing
me
a lot of
just
crazy
because I'm
pictures.
Yeah, you might see a
short-tempered.
picture of some cum tonight in the.
On our Facebook or Twitter.
I would be sorely insulted if you did.
All right, well, it's happening.
I'll put it on our Twitter and everything, be like, hey guys, check out this band. They're so great. They just really love to spread the love. So you heard, listeners, Trick Handle is out today by Mixked Fridays. They're an awesome band. We're glad to have them on, and we're glad to have kind of like a weird friendship through Twitter with them. Seriously though, they're reinventing the punk scene. They're bringing it straight from the heart of punk, which is California. So, listeners, keep your eyes open, listen to these guys, and get yourself an earshot full of their music.
Yes.
So, with that, we're going to sign up for today. If you want to keep up with everything we're doing, you know the same old routine. Go follow us on Facebook at Punk Rock Horror Podcast and our Twitter at OfficialPHP. And for Mixked Fridays, where should the guys check you out? Where should our listeners check you out?
Our Facebook, facebook.com /
Bookface.
Bookface, right? / Mixked Fridays. Everything's Mixked Fridays, right? Instagram is Instagram / Mixked Fridays.
Mixked
Or just go to
Fridays.com.
mixkedfridays.com and all the links are there.
MixkedFridays.com, and all the links are there.
And I'll include your guys' links in this episode notes as well, so everyone could go check you out. With that being said, thank you again, listeners, for tuning in, and thank you guys for Mixed Kids for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Have a good
Yeah.
night.
All right, signing off. Bye.
Hakuna Matata.
All right, there you have it, everyone. That was my interview with the guys from Mixked Fridays. With enough being said there, let's jump into their new single that they sent us called Long Distance. And make sure you check out and download their new album, Trick Handle. All right, let's get into it.